It's not very YouTuber of them. I'm calling you out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. God, look at this place. It's a freaking nightmare. Well, it looks like TommyfYeah's beat me to it. I was going to do a reaction video reacting to Whistlindiesel destroying two Nissan R32 GTRs. It was painful to watch, but I guess if you're going to have someone react to the destruction of two classic JDM cars like the R32 GTRs, TommyfYeah is the one to do it. If you guys are not familiar with either of these two gentlemen, Whistlindiesel is a very quickly growing YouTuber who destroys vehicles seemingly for the fun of it.
Sometimes I get to surprise people. And in this case, I feel like I've really outdone myself.
More on that later. And TommyfYeah, which many of you are probably familiar with, he's a well-known YouTuber, particularly in the JDM space.
Good morning, boys. If you haven't entered for your chance to win the OEM Plus Civic in all of its glory, you're up.
Has a shop where they do an amazing job restoring some of these vehicles, and it's something that is to behold. A lot of people have mixed feelings about TommyfYeah. Can be a little bit abrasive at times, but I think he is one of these purists that loves what he does, loves these vehicles. He appreciates them as the classics that they are, and there is a lot to be said about that, and we need people like that in this world. I thought this was a perfect opportunity to do a reaction to TommyfYeah's reaction to Whistlindiesel destroying two R32 GTRs. Funny enough, I had actually contemplated reaching out to Whistlindiesel to destroy my Jeep Wrangler because I'm at a loss for what to do with that thing. The Jeep Wrangler videos just weren't grabbing a lot of attention from you guys, so I thought, well, maybe reaching out to Whistlindiesel, see if he drive it off a cliff would generate some traffic to the channel. So if you guys haven't seen the full video, go check it out at Whistlindiesels YouTube channel. Essentially, he purchased two gray R32 GTRs and had some bad luck with them, seemingly back to back. A blown engine, another blown engine, and a bad transmission.
So these are my GTRs, guys.
Matching color.
Both of them.
TommyfYeah points out we don't see any of these things, any of these catastrophic failures actually happen.
He has none of it until the car's already broken. It's not very YouTuber of him.
But we see them up on a lift at a shop with the engines pulled. There's some major head damage, and they pull the engine out of the car, and he continues to further destroy it, busting a camshaft, which had already failed for one reason or another, and then throwing the engine block on the hood of one of the GTRs, which is very difficult to watch. I don't necessarily fall in the category of JDM fanboy. I'm just an enthusiast. I enjoy all vehicles. I do, in particular, enjoy Nissan and Infiniti vehicles, obviously, the nature of this channel, and the GTR holds the classic GTRs hold a special place in my heart, I gotta say. They remind me of my youth, right? The R32s are sort of my generational vehicles. I remember back in the 90s on PlayStation buying the Skyline as my first car on Gran Turismo. That was always the car that I wanted to have. The heritage, the classic styling and design. There's just something about the GTR. Now, having watched Whistlandiesel's videos for several months now, I know what they're all about. I know sort of his MO, right? At first, they were a little bit tough to watch, but it's purely for entertainment. We certainly can't judge anyone what they choose to do with their own money, and he gets his views, and there's a place for that on the internet, apparently. Those videos are not about how I felt about what happened to those cars. This video is about TommyfYeah's reaction, which surprised me.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to the channel. I'm just watching my favorite YouTuber.
You guys have followed TommyfYeah for any length of time. You'll know he's a very blunt, straightforward person. Doesn't suffer fools. Doesn't really necessarily take kindly to posers and idiots. I gotta say, I almost had the feeling, or I almost assumed, that he was going to take great offense to what happened.
Here at Nissan Fanboyville.
I was surprised to see, however, that he was very level-headed, very analytical, very logical in his approach and in his reaction. He did point out the fact that I just pointed out, and that you can't judge someone on what they choose to do with their own money. But he was very intellectual about it.
His name is Cody, and he is an entrepreneur. His business is ruining things other people like. And the one thing I'll never understand is why people get mad. I couldn't be happier that this video exists, because this video is the best marketing tool we've ever seen to market our business.
He pointed out three really good reasons or really good points that make Whistlindesel's video a good marketing tool for TommyfYeah's business. You stated the fact that just in general, when you get into these older vehicles, there's a high potential that you're going to run into issues, especially if you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and especially when you're getting into vehicles like these classic high-dollar JDM cars. Parts are hard to find and thus expensive. So if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're getting yourself into, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble very, very quickly. The other thing is not knowing the story and not knowing the past of these vehicles, and this is true for any 10, 15, 20 plus year old vehicle, especially one that is sort of a collectible or a performance sports car that you know people have modified or molested or raced or beat on or just, treated maybe a little bit harshly, but not as well maintained, but you don't know. But he's right. You just don't know. You just don't know. Another interesting point that I really didn't even think about when I watched the Whistlindiesel video originally is that nothing was documented. TommyfYeah pointed that out. Usually when these YouTubers pick up vehicles, particularly vehicles like this, everything is on film. The point is to film the delivery of the vehicle, to see a rundown of it. You get to see the first drive, the first pull, as Tommy pointed out. So it was a little bit strange to not see this portion because if you've watched any of Whistlindesel's vehicles, videos, that's sort of what he does. You see it in its original condition, and then you watch him systematically destroy said vehicle. Or maybe his approach was a little bit different. He wasn't necessarily going to just do that to these vehicles. Maybe he was going to get them running or working or restore them, or I don't really know what his plans were. But we don't see the engine failure. We don't see the second engine fail. We don't see the transmission go out. We just see some random jiggling of a shifter knob and whatever else. I may have just been caught up in the video itself and wondering what the heck is going on with these cars, and then watching him, throw the engine block on the hood of one of the GTRs and smashing it with the forklift and, breaking the camshaft off on a rock. I didn't really think about, well, wait a second, we didn't see all of it. So good on Tommy for pointing that out. He didn't really push that subject, but did point it out as something that was a little bit strange. Well, there was one thing that Tommy did do that was very, very smart, in my opinion.
Cody, you got your views. I'm calling you out. If you want a car built correctly at 450, 500, where I think these cars shine, and you'd like to bring it to us, we'll do it for free. You pay for parts because you damaged a bunch of parts. Throwing blocks on the hood and shit, and I'm not going to pay for your shit.
Offering to build these cars, or at least one of these cars, I think he might have said, was such a smart move on TommyfYeah's part.
Bring us a car. We'll do it free of labor. We'll show you what a Skyline should feel like at 500 horsepower. Will it last like the Hilux? Absolutely not. Will you be able to do what these cars are intended to do for extended periods of time? For sure. I'm
sure he gets enough traffic to the channel, and he's known well enough in this particular space that I think the word will get to Whistlindiesel if Whistlindiesel doesn't know of TommyfYeah already. It's going to obviously drive a ton of attention to TommyfYeah's channel and also his shop in general. I think that was a very, very smart move to get a reaction from Whistlindiesel, and ultimately, hopefully, he is able to get his hands on at least one of these cars and actually build it right. And then, I hate to say that we would see Whistlindiesel test the car or push the car like he did the Hilux. That truck, if you haven't seen that video, you need to check that video out of Whistlindiesel putting that Toyota Hilux through the ringer. That was unbelievable. But to think that TommyfYeah and his team put all that effort into restoring and building one of these GTRs properly, and then just watching Whistlindiesel destroy it, I don't think I could be into that. But I would like to see at least one of those cars make it through Tommy's shop and see what they could do to it. I mean, who wouldn't love to see that, right? I'm so thankful that there are shops like Tommy's out there that do this type of work, that bring these cars back to their original glory or beyond their original glory. And the sort of idea of OEM plus, I really love and appreciate that. So I'm glad there are guys like TommyfYeah out there that take this stuff really, really seriously. But ultimately, I got to say that I was really, really surprised actually at TommyfYeah's reaction to Whistlindiesel destroying two R32 GTRs. Like I said, I thought it was going to possibly be a little bit over the top. I thought when I saw the title, when I saw the fact that TommyfYeah had made this reaction video, I was like, oh, here we go. I thought for sure he was going to feel a little bit of disrespect. But I think he approached it very, very professionally. I think he sees right away, or recognizes right away, the opportunity that he could have in a partnership with Whistlindiesel. But I think he also really understands the importance of seeing things like this out there and using that to attract a client base, right? Like he said, using that video as a marketing tool to show his potential clients the importance of going over these vehicles with a fine-tooth comb and approaching them in a systematic, thoughtful way, not skimping on parts, doing things the right way, and actually seeing what could happen when there are people, shady characters out there taking advantage of a certain market spike, as Tommy pointed out, and just, the Mako backyard paint jobs, the cheap parts to get them running and take advantage of that market spike, getting top dollar for vehicles that they know aren't worth what they've listed them at, and people wanting them so bad and wanting to be part of this, they just throw all the money at it, and then in the end they're very, very disappointed with a car that doesn't run like it should and doesn't hold up like it should. So anyway, big kudos, big shout out to TommyfYeah for handling that reaction the way that he did. I think it was very smart and very professional, and I can't wait to see if Whistlindiesel sees that reaction and takes TommyfYeah up on his challenge. I think it'll be awesome. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about what Whistlindiesel did to these GTRs and what you thought about TommyfYeah's reaction, whether or not you would have handled that in the same manner as he did, or if you were surprised by how he reacted. Fingers crossed that Whistlindiesel takes him up on the challenge. I'm pumped to see what happens. Thank you guys very much for watching this little quick reaction video to TommyfYeah's reaction to Whistlindiesel destroying 2 R32 GTRs. Painful for me to see. Thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate the continued support. Back to our regularly scheduled content coming up. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.